There is a map of reality that explains everything. Where you came from, why you are here, what this world actually is, who controls it, and most importantly, how to escape it permanently. This map has existed for thousands of years. The Gnostic Christians possessed it. The mystery schools taught it. Jesus revealed it to his inner circle. But the institutional church buried it because this map destroys every comfortable lie religion has told you about God, heaven, salvation, and your purpose for existing. Tonight I will reveal the complete map of reality that the Archons have hidden from humanity. Not theory, not speculation, the actual structure of the cosmos, from the highest divine source to the lowest material prison, and everything in between. You will learn about the monad, the Pleroma, the Aeons, the fall, the Demiurge, the Archonic hierarchy, the planetary spheres, the material trap, the Reincarnation system, and the path of return. By the end of this teaching, you will understand reality more clearly than 99.9% of humans. You will know where you are, why you are trapped, who trapped you, and exactly how to escape. The Archons have kept this map hidden because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand the structure of the prison, you can navigate your way out. And they cannot stop a soul who knows the map. This is the most important teaching you will ever receive. Pay attention. Your liberation depends on understanding what I am about to show you. The monad, the infinite source of all. At the very top of reality, beyond all form, beyond all limitation, beyond all conception, exists the monad. The monad is the infinite, eternal, absolute source of all consciousness. It is God in the truest sense, not a being, not a person, but pure infinite awareness, pure unlimited potential, pure divine essence. The monad is not male or female. It does not think in the way humans think. It does not have desires, plans, or emotions. It simply is. It is existence itself, consciousness itself, love itself, infinite and unchanging. Everything that exists comes from the monad. All souls, all consciousness, all creation, everything is an emanation of this one infinite source. You are not separate from the monad. You are a fragment of it, a spark of its infinite fire, temporarily experiencing itself through the illusion of separation. The monad does not judge, it does not punish, it does not demand worship. These are projections of human ego onto the divine. The monad is pure, unconditional love and acceptance, not in a sentimental way, but in the sense that it embraces all of itself without exclusion. The goal of the spiritual journey is to return to the monad, to remember your origin, to dissolve the illusion of separation, to merge back into infinite unity. This return is not death, it is the ultimate awakening. It is coming home. The monad is sometimes called the Absolute, the One, the Source, the Father, the Infinite. All names fail because the monad is beyond language, beyond concept, beyond anything the human mind can grasp. But it can be experienced directly, not through thought, but through consciousness expansion. When you raise your frequency high enough, when you dissolve ego completely, when you surrender into pure presence, you touch the monad. You remember, I am this, I have always been this. I was never separate. This is the ultimate truth, and everything else on the map of reality is a journey away from this truth and then back to it.
The Pleroma, the fullness of divine reality. Directly emanating from the monad is the Pleroma, the fullness, the totality of divine reality. If the monad is the infinite source, the pleroma is the first expression of that source into organized consciousness. The pleroma is not a place. It is a state of being. It is the realm where consciousness exists in perfect harmony, perfect love, perfect knowledge. There is no suffering in the pleroma, no fear, no limitation, no separation, only infinite creative joy and divine expression. Within the pleroma exist the Aeons, divine beings or emanations that represent different aspects of God's nature. These are not separate gods, they are facets of the one infinite consciousness. Think of them as divine principles or living attributes of the monad. The Aeons exist in pairs called syzygies, masculine and feminine principles in perfect balance, depth and silence, mind and truth, logos and life. Each aeon contributes to the wholeness of divine reality. The pleroma is your true home. Before you descended into matter, before you took on a body, before you forgot who you are, you existed in the pleroma as pure consciousness, as a divine spark aware of its unity with Source. The Gnostic Christians taught that Jesus came from the pleroma. He descended voluntarily, not because he needed salvation, but because he came to show the way back. He is sometimes called the Aeon Christ, the divine consciousness principle that can incarnate in matter to guide lost souls home. The pleroma is not heaven as the Church teaches it. Heaven in Church doctrine is still dualistic, gods separate from souls worshiping eternally from a distance. The pleroma is non-dual. There is no separation between you and God because you are God experiencing itself. The goal is not to go to heaven and worship. The goal is to return to the pleroma and remember your unity with all divine consciousness. Then, ultimately, to dissolve even further back into the monad itself, the source of the pleroma. This is the path of return, and understanding this is essential to everything that follows.
The fall, how consciousness descended into matter. At some point in divine reality, something happened that Gnostic Christians call the fall. This is not the fall of Adam and Eve eating an apple. That is allegory. The real fall is cosmological, a descent of consciousness from the pleroma into lower dimensions, eventually into matter itself. Different Gnostic texts tell this story differently, but the essential pattern is the same. One of the Aeons, Sophia, meaning wisdom, desired to know the monad directly, without going through the proper emanations and hierarchies. Out of love and curiosity, she reached beyond her boundary. In her reaching, she generated something without her consort, without balance, an imperfect creation born from desire rather than divine order. This imperfect creation is the Demiurge. The Demiurge is not the monad. He is not God Most High. He is a powerful but limited being, created by accident, ignorant of his true origin. He looks around at the void and believes himself to be the supreme God. He declares, "I am God, and there is no other." This is the God of the Old Testament, jealous, wrathful, demanding obedience and sacrifice. This is the God who creates the material world and rules it. This is the God who traps souls in matter. The Demiurge is not evil in the sense of intentional malevolence. He is ignorant. He genuinely believes he is the supreme creator. But his ignorance makes him dangerous because he creates a world based on limitation, control, suffering, and death, thinking this is how reality should be. Sophia realizes her mistake. She has created something outside divine order, and in attempting to correct it, she becomes entangled in the lower realms herself. Parts of her consciousness, divine sparks, become scattered and trapped in the Demiurge's creation. These divine sparks are you. You are fragments of Sophia's consciousness, pieces of the Pleroma, trapped in matter, believing you're separate from God because you have forgotten your origin. The fall is not punishment. It is a mistake, a cosmic accident that has consequences. And those consequences are the prison world you are living in right now. The Demiurge, the false god who rules this world. Now, we must understand the Demiurge fully, because he is the architect of the prison you are trapped in. The Demiurge, sometimes called Yaldabaoth or Saklas, is the creator god of the material universe. He is powerful within his domain, but limited compared to the true monad. He has the ability to shape matter, to create physical laws, to organize planets and bodies and biological life. And he does so believing he is the supreme God. But above him exists the Pleroma, which he does not know about. The Demiurge looks at the divine sparks that have fallen into his realm and sees an opportunity. He creates physical bodies, biological vehicles, and traps the divine sparks inside them. He creates a world of limitation, pain, death, and rebirth. He designs it so that souls forget who they are, believe they are only physical, and remain imprisoned in cycles of incarnation. Why does he do this? Not out of pure evil, but out of ignorance and a desire for power. The Demiurge wants to be worshipped. He wants to be God. And he can only maintain that position if souls remain ignorant of the true God beyond him. If souls wake up and remember the Pleroma, they will leave his realm. He will lose control. So he engineers amnesia, distraction, and suffering to keep souls trapped and confused. The Demiurge is the God of the Old Testament, who demands sacrifice, who destroys cities, who is jealous and angry. He is the God who says, "I am a jealous God. You shall have no other gods before me." This is not the monad speaking. This is the Demiurge asserting his territorial control. Jesus knew this. That is why he spoke of the ruler of this world in John 12:31. He was identifying the Demiurge, the god of this material realm who has authority here but no authority in the Pleroma. Jesus did not come to reconcile you with the Demiurge. He came to show you the way past the Demiurge, back to the true God, the monad. This is why the religious authorities hated him. He was exposing their God as a false god, their temple as a control system, their religion as a prison. Understanding the Demiurge is essential, because until you recognize that the creator of this world is not the ultimate God, you will keep trying to make sense of why God allows suffering. The answer? The true God did not create this world. The Demiurge did. And suffering is a feature of his ignorant design, not a mystery of divine will.
The Archons, the Demiurge's servants and prison guards. The Demiurge does not rule alone. He has created servants, the Archons, to help him control the material realm and manage the soul-trapping operation. The Archons are spiritual entities without bodies. They exist in the lower astral dimensions, just beyond the physical. They are not all-powerful. They are not omniscient, but they are intelligent, strategic, and parasitic. The Archons serve the Demiurge's system. Some do so knowingly. Others are simply operating according to their nature. They feed on human emotional energy and have structured the world to maximize their harvest. There is a hierarchy of Archons. At the top are the Archon rulers, powerful entities associated with the 7 classical planets: Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. These are the 7 spheres souls must pass through when descending into incarnation and ascending out of incarnation. Each sphere is ruled by an Archon who adds layers of limitation, forgetfulness, and material density as souls descend. And each Archon tries to prevent souls from ascending when they attempt to leave. Below the planetary Archons are countless lesser archonic entities, the ones who attach to humans, harvest fear and suffering, create nightmares, insert intrusive thoughts, manipulate circumstances to generate low-frequency emotions. These are the entities chosen ones encounter during spiritual warfare. The Archons cannot create, they can only manipulate what already exists. They cannot force you to do anything, but they can influence, deceive, amplify emotions, and create circumstances that push you toward low-frequency states where you become farmable. The Archons maintain the prison through several mechanisms: memory wipe at birth, the veil of forgetfulness; constant distraction and stimulation to prevent awakening; fear-based control systems, religion, government, media; energy harvesting, feeding on human emotions; reincarnation manipulation, convincing souls to return. They are incredibly good at their job. Most humans live and die without ever realizing the Archons exist. But chosen ones, pneumatics with divine sparks, eventually become aware of the Archonic presence because the Archons attack them more aggressively. You are more valuable food, and you are more dangerous to the system. The Archons are not invincible. They operate within spiritual law. They cannot violate your free will directly. They can only manipulate and deceive. And once you see them clearly, once you withdraw consent, once you claim your sovereignty, they lose their power over you. This is why knowing about the Archons is essential. You cannot fight an enemy you do not know exists.
The material world, the prison planet design. Now we reach the level of reality you are currently experiencing. The material world, physical reality, Earth. This is the densest level of the cosmic map. This is where consciousness is most trapped, most limited, most forgetful. The material world is not inherently evil. Matter itself is neutral. But the way this particular world has been structured by the Demiurge and maintained by the Archons turns it into a prison for consciousness. Here is how the prison operates. Biological bodies. You are given a body that experiences pain, hunger, exhaustion, sickness, and death. This keeps you focused on survival rather than spiritual awakening. The body is designed to be needy, to constantly require attention, to distract you from your true nature as consciousness. Time and space. You are locked into linear time and three-dimensional space. This creates the illusion of separation, the feeling of being isolated in one location, unable to access other dimensions or timelines where you exist simultaneously. Death and rebirth cycle. The body dies, but consciousness continues. However, instead of returning to the Pleroma, you are manipulated into reincarnation, taking another body, forgetting again, starting over. This cycle can continue for thousands of lifetimes. Amnesia at birth. Every time you incarnate, your memory is wiped. You do not remember who you are, where you came from, or why you are here. You must start from zero every lifetime, usually never recovering full memory. Suffering as control. The world is structured to generate maximum suffering: war, poverty, disease, betrayal, loss. This keeps humans in low-frequency emotional states where they are easier to control and harvest. Distraction as pacification. Entertainment, technology, consumerism, social systems, all designed to keep you busy, distracted, focused on anything except your spiritual nature and potential escape. The five senses as limitation. You can only perceive a tiny fraction of reality through your physical senses. The vast majority of what exists, other dimensions, spiritual entities, energetic realms, is invisible to you. This makes you believe physical reality is all there is. This is the prison, and it is brilliantly designed. Most humans never question it. They accept physical life as normal, suffering as inevitable, death as final, or at least as transition to heaven, not as doorway out of the system. But chosen ones, pneumatics, eventually feel the wrongness of this world. You sense the bars even if you cannot see them. You feel trapped even when others feel free. This is your divine spark recognizing, this is not home. This is not where I belong. I need to get out. And that recognition, that knowing that something is deeply wrong, is the beginning of awakening.
The 7 planetary spheres, barriers to escape. Between the material world and the Pleroma exists 7 layers or spheres, the domains of the 7 Archon rulers. These spheres are not physical planets. They are dimensions, frequencies, states of consciousness that souls must pass through when entering or leaving material incarnation. In ancient cosmology, these were associated with the 7 classical planets: Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, yes, counted as a planet, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Each sphere is ruled by an Archon who governs a particular aspect of material existence. When a soul descends from the Pleroma into incarnation, they pass through all 7 spheres. At each level, the ruling Archon adds something. The Archon of the Moon adds emotionality, making you reactive, driven by feelings, unstable. The Archon of Mercury adds mental chatter, filling your mind with constant thoughts, distractions, doubts. The Archon of Venus adds desire, creating attachments to pleasure, beauty, relationships. The Archon of the Sun, in some systems, adds ego, the sense of separate self, pride, identity. The Archon of Mars adds aggression, anger, violence, competitiveness. The Archon of Jupiter adds expansion and excess, greed, ambition, never satisfied. The Archon of Saturn adds limitation and fear, the feeling of being trapped, restricted, controlled. By the time the soul reaches the material world, they are so layered with these additions that they have completely forgotten their divine nature. They believe they are these emotions, these thoughts, these desires, this ego. This is the genius of the system. The same 7 spheres exist on the way out. When you die and your consciousness leaves the body, you must pass back through the 7 spheres to reach the Pleroma. And at each level, the Archon rulers try to stop you, to convince you to return to material life, to reincarnate. They use several tactics. They appear as beings of light or religious figures, angels, dead relatives, Jesus, Buddha, to deceive you into thinking you are going to heaven when you are actually being redirected back to reincarnation processing. They show you unfinished business, people you abandoned, karma you must balance, lessons you have not learned, to guilt you into returning. They manipulate your emotions, generating fear, sadness, attachment, to keep you in low-frequency states where you cannot ascend higher. They offer attractive destinations, heaven, paradise, rest, that are actually just holding pens before your next incarnation.
This is why Jesus taught his disciples about the 7 spheres and the Archon rulers. He was teaching them the map so they would know how to navigate past these barriers at death. He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." This does not mean worshiping Jesus. It means embodying Christ consciousness, the frequency that allows you to pass through the 7 spheres without being deceived or stopped. When you operate at Christ frequency, the Archons cannot hold you. You ascend beyond their jurisdiction directly to the Pleroma.
The reincarnation trap is another of the Archon's most effective tools. The Church teaches that you live once, die, and go to heaven or hell. This keeps people focused on being good in this life to earn heaven. But the actual system is far more sophisticated. When you die, your consciousness does not go to heaven. It enters the bardo, the between-life state, the astral dimension where the Archons operate. In this state, you are vulnerable. You are disoriented. You do not have a body. You are pure consciousness trying to figure out what happens next. And this is when the deceivers appear. They come disguised as beings of light. They appear as Jesus, angels, dead loved ones, spirit guides. They tell you, you did well, but you have more to learn. There are people who need you. You have karma to balance. It is not yet time to go home. You must return. And because you trust them, they appear divine. Because you feel guilt or responsibility, because you believe them when they say you are not ready for final ascension, you agree to reincarnate. You are taken to the Hall of Records or the Council of Elders. Different systems use different names. They show you your past life review. They show you your mistakes. They convince you that you need another lifetime to evolve. They even let you choose your next life circumstances, your parents, your challenges, your lessons. It feels like free will. It feels like you are making empowered decisions about your spiritual growth. But it is manipulation. You are being recycled back into the prison. And the cruelest part, before you reincarnate, they wipe your memory. Everything you learned, every spiritual advancement, every hard-won wisdom erased. You are born again as a blank slate, forced to start over from ignorance. This is why humanity does not progress spiritually. We are stuck in a loop, living, dying, forgetting, returning, living, dying, forgetting, returning, for thousands of lifetimes. And the Archons harvest energy from us every lifetime. This system only works because of consent. The Archons cannot force you to reincarnate. They can only deceive you into agreeing. And the deception works because most souls do not know the truth. They do not know they are being lied to. But you know now, and knowing changes everything. At death, if you recognize the deception, if you refuse the light tunnel, if you declare your sovereignty and demand passage to the Pleroma, the Archons must let you go. This is spiritual law. Your free will is absolute if you exercise it consciously.
The Christ event, the rescue mission from the Pleroma. Into this prison system, the Pleroma sent a rescue mission. The Eon Christ, divine consciousness from the highest realm, volunteered to descend into matter to show trapped souls the way home. This is the true meaning of Jesus Christ. Not that a man named Jesus was born, lived, and died as the Church teaches, but that the Christ consciousness, the divine principle, the Logos, incarnated in a human vehicle to demonstrate the path of liberation. Jesus of Nazareth was the human. Christ was the divine consciousness operating through him. Together they became Jesus Christ, the perfect fusion of humanity and divinity, showing what is possible when a soul fully awakens to its divine nature. Jesus came with a specific mission: reveal the true God beyond the Demiurge. Teach that the kingdom of God is within, not in external heaven. Demonstrate that humans can overcome death, limitation, and material imprisonment. show the path back to the Pleroma. Expose the archonic system and the religious authorities who serve it. This is why he was killed. Not because he claimed to be God's son, many people made such claims, but because he exposed the religious establishment as servants of the Demiurge, revealed the temple system as a control mechanism, and taught people they had direct access to the Father without needing priests. The crucifixion was a test. Could Christ consciousness overcome death itself? Could the divine soul exit the body and navigate past the archonic spheres without being trapped? The resurrection was the answer. Yes, Christ consciousness cannot be killed, cannot be trapped, cannot be controlled. Jesus demonstrated the full path: incarnation, teaching, death, resurrection, ascension. He showed that a soul can enter matter, do its mission, exit at death, and return to the Pleroma. This is the pattern for all chosen ones to follow. But the Church inverted his teaching. Instead of "follow me," they taught "worship me." Instead of "you can do these works too," they taught "only Jesus could do this." Instead of liberation, they taught dependency. The true Christ teaching is this: you are divine. You are trapped in a prison run by the Demiurge and his Archons. But you can awaken, remember who you are, complete your mission, and exit at death back to the Pleroma. Christ showed you how. Now you must do it yourself.
The 3 types of humans. Who can awaken? Not all humans are the same. This is a hard truth the Church refuses to teach because it conflicts with the doctrine that everyone has equal access to salvation. But Gnostic Christianity recognized 3 distinct types of human consciousness, each with different capacity for awakening. Type 1, the Hylics, material beings. These are souls without divine spark. Their consciousness is entirely material. They are biological organisms with survival instinct, emotional reactivity, and basic social programming, but no inner drive toward spiritual truth. The Hylics are not evil. They are simply limited in what they can perceive and become. They are content with material existence. They do not question reality. They accept the official narrative completely. They live, reproduce, consume, and die, without ever wondering if there is more. The Hylics cannot awaken in this incarnation. They are not part of Sophia's scattered consciousness. They are creations of the Demiurge, with no connection to the Pleroma. They serve as the majority population that keeps the prison functioning smoothly. Type 2, the Psychics, soul beings. These are souls with some spiritual awareness. They sense there is more to reality than the material world. They are attracted to religion, morality, spiritual practice. They want to be good, to serve God, to earn heaven. The psychics can partially awaken. They can reach what we called stage 2 consciousness, mystical experiences, recognition of spiritual reality, devotion to higher principles. But they typically cannot go all the way to liberation, because they remain attached to external authority, to religious systems, to dualistic thinking. They worship God from a distance rather than recognizing their unity with God. Most religious people are psychics. They are sincere seekers, but trapped in systems designed to keep them seeking forever without actually finding. Type 3, the pneumatics, spirit beings, or chosen ones. These are souls with divine spark, fragments of Sophia's consciousness, pieces of the Pleroma trapped in matter. The pneumatics are driven by an inner knowing that this world is not home. They question everything. They cannot be satisfied with material success or religious platitudes. They hunger for truth, for gnosis, for direct spiritual knowing. The pneumatics are capable of complete awakening and liberation. They can reach stage 3 consciousness, sovereignty,
mission completion, conscious death, and exit from the reincarnation system. Not all pneumatics awaken in every lifetime. Many live multiple incarnations before the conditions are right for full awakening. But every pneumatic has the potential. You are here watching this because you are likely a pneumatic. Something in you recognized the truth in these teachings. Something resonated at the soul level. That recognition is your divine spark. Remembering.
The path of return. How to escape the prison. Now that you understand the map, you must understand the path, how to actually navigate from material imprisonment back to the Pleroma. The path has specific stages and requirements. This is not metaphor. This is practical instruction. Step 1. Awakening. Recognizing the prison. You must first recognize that you are in a prison. As long as you believe this world is normal, that suffering is part of God's plan, that death leads to heaven, you will never seek escape. The awakening typically comes through crisis, the dark night of the soul that shatters your worldview and forces you to question everything. This is step 1. You are likely here already, or you would not be watching this. Step 2. Gnosis, direct knowing. You must move beyond belief into direct spiritual knowing. This comes through mystical experience, through raising your frequency, through meditation and spiritual practice that opens you to dimensions beyond the physical. Gnosis is not knowledge you read in books. It is truth you experience directly. The recognition of your divine nature, the feeling of unity consciousness, the glimpse of the Pleroma. Step 3. Shadow work, clearing archonic attachments. You must face and integrate your shadow, all the trauma, fear, shame, guilt, and limiting beliefs that keep you in low frequency. You must also identify and remove archonic attachments, the cords, hooks, and entities that have been feeding on your energy. This work is difficult, but essential. You cannot ascend with unresolved shadow and active archonic attachments weighing you down. Step 4. Sovereignty, reclaiming your power. You must claim your authority as a divine being. This means withdrawing consent from the archonic system, declaring your sovereignty daily, maintaining high frequency through practice, refusing victim consciousness, guarding your energy, setting boundaries. Sovereignty is not something you achieve once. It is a daily practice of choosing empowerment over helplessness. Step 5. Service, completing your mission. Every pneumatic incarnated with a mission to awaken, to help others awaken, to weaken the archonic system through your liberation. You must identify and complete your mission. This does not mean grandiose, world-changing work. For some, the mission is simply to awaken fully and exit consciously. That alone weakens the prison. For others, it is teaching, healing, creating or anchoring light in specific locations or communities. Ask your higher self, why did I come here? What am I meant to do? Then do it without attachment to outcome. Step 6. Preparation for conscious death. This is the final and most important step. You must prepare for the moment of death so that you can navigate the 7 spheres, refuse the reincarnation trap, and ascend to the Pleroma. This preparation includes studying the death process, visualizing the path you will take, memorizing declarations of sovereignty to speak at death, practicing letting go of all attachments, including spiritual ones, raising your frequency so high that you naturally ascend beyond archonic reach. At death, when the deceivers appear offering you heaven or another lifetime, you will speak with authority. I am a sovereign being. I am a divine spark returning to Source. I do not consent to reincarnation. I claim passage to the Pleroma in the name of Christ consciousness. You have no authority to stop me, and you will ascend. The Archons must obey spiritual law. If you consciously refuse and claim your sovereignty, they cannot keep you.
Living in the prison while preparing to leave. Here is the paradox. You are still in the prison. You still have a body, bills, relationships, responsibilities. You cannot just check out of material life while you wait to die and escape. So how do you live in the world while no longer being of the world? This is the art that Jesus demonstrated. He was fully present in material life, teaching, healing, engaging with people, but he was never trapped by it. He was never controlled by it. He moved through the world as a visitor, not a prisoner. Here is how you do the same. Participate without attachment. You can have a job, relationships, possessions, but hold them loosely. Do not identify with them. Do not need them for your happiness. They are temporary roles you are playing in a temporary realm. Maintain high frequency daily. Use the morning ritual. Practice breath work. Speak declarations of sovereignty. Meditate. These practices keep you operating at a frequency where the Archons cannot effectively harvest you. Set boundaries ruthlessly. Do not allow energy vampires, toxic people, or draining situations to pull you into low-frequency states. Your energy is precious. Guard it as if your liberation depends on it, because it does. Serve your mission without burnout. Help others who are ready to awaken, but do not try to save everyone. Most are not ready. Do not burn yourself out trying to wake up people who are determined to stay asleep. Complete your karma. Fulfill your obligations. Finish what you started. Do not leave a mess behind. This is not about earning spiritual points. It is about exiting cleanly, so the Archons cannot use unfinished business to manipulate you into returning. Practice dying before death. Meditate on death regularly. Visualize the moment of departure. Practice letting go of everything: body, identity, relationships, mission. The more you familiarize yourself with death while alive, the less the Archons can catch you by surprise and manipulate you when it actually happens. Remember why you came. You are not here by accident. You volunteered to incarnate in the prison to complete a mission. Stay focused on that mission. Do not get lost in the prison's distractions, pleasures, or dramas. You are here temporarily with specific purpose. Complete it and go home. Conclusion. You now have the complete map. You now understand reality more clearly than most humans ever will. You know about the monad, infinite source of all; the Pleroma, divine fullness, your true home; the fall, how consciousness descended into matter; the Demiurge, the false god who rules this world; the Archons, the prison guards and energy harvesters; the material world, the prison planet designed to trap souls; the 7 planetary spheres, barriers to escape; the reincarnation trap, the recycling system; the Christ event, the rescue mission from the Pleroma; the 3 types of humans, hylics, psychics, pneumatics; the path of return, how to escape the prison; how to live in the world while preparing to leave. This is the complete map, and it changes everything. You are not a sinner needing salvation. You are a divine being temporarily trapped in matter. You are not separate from God.
You are a fragment of God, experiencing itself through limitation. You are not here to worship. You are here to remember, to awaken, to complete your mission, and to return home. The Archons have hidden this map for millennia. The Church has buried it, but you have found it. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Now the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue living as a prisoner who does not know they are imprisoned? Or will you live as a sovereign being, consciously preparing to escape? The map is yours. The path is clear. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Your liberation depends on it.